Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine, the Resilient Mother, here with another great speaker for you. This is Mary Peterson Cook, and this is, we've had several attempts with this today, so we've been resilient to finally get this to work. So here we are. Please, Mary, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much for having me on here, Tiffany. So, I am the owner and founder of Parenting with Joy and Confidence. And I really work with parents to ditch the fear based parenting, ditch the old, like traditional view on kids and our life, and really help you tap into your intuition and lead your family and help your kids grow both emotionally and mentally and even physically using the values that you hold dear in your family. So it's not about me and my views on what you should do, or your sisters, or your mothers, or your best friends, but really tapping into what you feel is best for your family and helping your kids grow from there. I am
That's
all.
wonderful.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was a little distracted. I got to make sure these sounds are off from everything and everywhere. It sounds very holistic, which I think is really important with resilience. You really have to find a way to stay in a complete and whole place to be able to go with the challenges that come with just life in general, especially in a family. We're all about supporting mothers with this summit. And so it sounds like what you do is really a great work, because who doesn't want to be the best parent that they could possibly be?
Great.
Yeah, exactly. And it's wonderful that you're doing that. I think there are generational patterns that sometimes need to be broken. And it's just a matter of, well, okay, I'm going to not do that. But what are you going to do instead? Do you find that to be true?
Yes. And that's often where people come to me at is, okay, so I shouldn't spank anymore and I shouldn't yell anymore, and I legit, like, I don't like doing it. I feel horrible when I do it. But what else is there? I mean, I still have to raise a kid that can be resilient, that can be a functioning member of society, and ideally can learn to control their emotions, right? So how do you do that otherwise? And so that's where I come in. Not only do I give them ideas, and I usually give, like, okay, well, here's your, or what, we break it down, like, what's the situation, what's going on before, what's going on during, what's going on after, and we really find solutions to work for your family. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't feel good, you're not going to do it,
Yeah.
right? If you don't believe in what you're doing, you're never going to remember. You're never going to follow through. And that just confuses our kids. And honestly, it makes them feel unsafe because they're not sure what to expect. And so that's when they'll keep pushing those boundaries because they're not really sure what's going on anyway.
Yes, I think that's so true. And it's beautiful that what you do is for individuals. I'm all about, you need to find the solutions for yourselves. And that's what
Yeah.
the summit is about, is listen to all these speakers, take notes, figure out what things that they're offering, and go try them out. Figure out which ones feel right for you. Create your own system, but take advantage of the tools here and the people that are offering them. I think also it's great that I think something I'd love for you to touch on is age appropriate behavior, because every kid at a different stage, there are appropriate and inappropriate things to do. I think you covered what generally needs to happen, but how do you address that?
So first of all, just understanding brain development. And honestly, a lot of my clients will come to me and just be like, this is happening. Please tell me this is normal. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally normal. Like, I was having a conversation today with a former client, and her daughter just, like, randomly was angry, like, for no reason. Like, she was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden she was mad at her and angry at her mom for saying, she never said this, by the way, this is just something that this the 6 year old, I think she just turned 6, or she's about to turn 6, um, said that she said. It wasn't true at all, but in her mind it was. And understanding things like lying is totally developmentally normal and is so ambiguous to the kids, helps keep us from that fear, right? So a lot of times what happens is, like, my client, she came to me and she's like, She's telling me that I told her that we could never go on vacation, and then that she can read the future and do all these things, and she was like it was completely ridiculous and nonsensical. And she's like, "What do I do with that?" And I'm like, "Well, we just help them understand, like, hey, that's what you think. We don't have to always correct them because in their minds, this is the way, this is the truth."
Mhm.
And little things, even, right? Like my son saying, oh, he did something. Half the time in his head, he thinks he did. He will think he did it, but that doesn't make it necessarily true. And understanding that in his mind, that's the way it's working, I don't have to get mad at the little lie, right? We
Yeah.
call it a lie, but it's really just his version of the truth. And when we can understand that little things are like that are actually very fluid and ambiguous, we don't have to like clench up. It's not a moral imperative anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing, is when you can understand the different stages of child development and what's going on in their brains and why it's actually beneficial and why they need to. Like your 4-year-old who's completely defiant, completely normal, and actually necessary, right? When you can understand why, then you can help guide them through it. So no
Yeah.
longer do you have to be controlling them, you can guide them, which builds up their resilience, because then they're going to have those steps in the future. They
It
know
builds
you're
self-confidence. Yeah. And acceptance. Yeah.
exactly. So
Because
yes,
they're not little adults is what I'm hearing from you. They're not little adults. They're not lying to you on purpose in some cases.
we do. We
And
put a
sometimes
lot of our adult concepts onto them, like manipulation.
yeah.
In the truest sense of the word, if you go and read a definition, sure, yes, I could say that my son manipulates me, but he doesn't have that nefarious quality to him, right?
Mm.
We put this a very adult idea onto them of like, well, they're just trying to manipulate me and get one over on me. No, they literally think in their heads, I need this, and their need and want are one and the same at that age. And so, how do I get to this? Well, in the past, if I do this, this has worked, so this is the way I do it. Sure. By the dictionary, that's manipulation. But there's no evil aspect to it. There's no like trying to get one over on you. It's just, how do I get there the easiest and fastest way?
Yeah. How do I get my needs met? I think is the key thing that you said there. And
Yes, and
resilience is
understanding that their wants are their needs for them.
oh, exactly. Yeah, as we get older, we can separate those. But at that age, there's a lot of things you can't separate. Their emotions become them. And if they're being really honest and it's something that hurts you, they didn't mean to hurt you. They're just being honest. Or if they're lying, they're trying to get a need met. And so that's why sometimes reverse psychology gets used, because maybe in the past bad behavior got attention. So now they do bad behavior to get attention, and you got to flip it on its head. And the biggest thing I'm hearing, though, to build self-esteem for them is acknowledge where they're at. Where are they at mentally? Acknowledge their emotions, acknowledge their struggle, and learning how to be this person, this little person who's developing and growing and in this big, big, big world. And you're their guide. I think that was the beautiful thing that you said too, is you're not buddies or friends. Sorry, as much as you want to be. When my daughter defies me, that's going into the teenage years. I'm like, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. I'm her parent. I'm not her friend. She's allowed to be mad at me. And I'm glad somebody gave me that perspective, because otherwise there wouldn't be a way to create boundaries.
And honestly, like, I'm okay with, I can be my child's friend, but I'm also his parent. And if you think about it, how would we want them to interact with their friends?
That's a really great way of putting it. Yes.
Do I want them to just go with whatever their friend tells them to do? Would I want them to dictate to their friends all the time?
Right.
So we're literally teaching them how to manage relationships when they are overcoming these new challenges, like defiance, like getting their own way or lying, or we're really giving them those tools to manage future relationships by the way that we manage ours.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not controlling, it's not manipulation. So it's important we don't control our kids or manipulate them into the things that we want them to be, and that we let them have their own identity and not be like, you're going to be a mini me who's going to go conquer all the things in the world I did not conquer. You are therefore doing this and this and this and this. Like, we got to give them room and opportunities to be individuals and experience and choose for themselves. And I think that was a beautiful thing that you honored there, is that when they do defy you, when they do speak up for themselves and their needs, maybe you don't like it, but hey, they spoke up and defended themselves even to you. And that's actually a huge compliment, that they trusted you enough to know they could throw that at you and you're still going to love them. And that was a great perspective somebody gave me, as my daughter, who struggles with anger and some stuff from the divorce and some things that we went through. I get her anger. I get all of it. But she only gives it to me. And somebody pointed out it's because she trusts you and she knows that you're still going to love her. And when somebody gave me that perspective, I'm like, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it, because I love her and I want to be that safe space for her. So.
Exactly. And not only that, but if they can't say it to you, then how are they going to say it to somebody else when it's more important? For example, your daughter's getting older. What happens when she gets a boyfriend? Right? And they start, telling her she should do this and that. Is she going to have that experience to tell him no?
Exactly.
Or a good friend or a mentor. They have to try it out with you to know how it works and to gain that confidence to use it with others.
I feel like what you're doing is so essential. I mean, you're hitting just what we need to be resilient as parents, and how much our relationships with our children affects their future relationships. I mean, there's so much at stake there to build a healthy child and a healthy future for them. So what are some key things that you do with your clients, besides being individual and holistic, that apply to resilience? What are some key tips?
First of all, I honestly, it sounds so basic, but I tell them that if you're doing good 70 to 80% of the time, then you have an A at life. Like this, like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we think of it like, I messed up again. I messed up again. No. You are human. And if you're never going to be 100%. And in fact, if you were 100%, that is so not good for your kids, because then you're never modeling how to make amends, how to apologize, how to take responsibility. Think about how many people in our generation really struggle with taking responsibility for their actions. I mean, it's like all over the news all the time, right?
Yeah.
How often do you think their parents told them that whatever they're doing was their fault? I'm yelling at you because it's your fault. I'm hitting you because it's your fault.
Oh.
Right? And then that just gets filtered down. And so the parents are these perfect people that can never do any wrong, never take responsibility for their actions. I'm still dealing with this as an adult, like with my own parents. And then we never learn how to do it. So then it just continues. But when you can say, no, I'm going to break that cycle. I did wrong. I lost control of my emotions. And I'm going to work on that. And I'm very sorry for that. You don't deserve to be treated that way.
Yeah, that's been so empowering for me, because going from a married woman with support and being close to support to single mom with 2, now single mom 3 with little support, or support that tries to be there. But I mean, really, it's on me. It's on me. I'll take that. It's on me. Those moments that I take responsibility and I just apologize to my kids. Do you think you can take it too far, though? And then put, like, for example, could you be a little too apologetic with everything? Like, I wanted this for us and I wanted that for us. And where's that fine line? Because I think you can take that too far too.
Yes. Let's not put our own triggers and drama on our kids.
Oh, amen.
It's something that I actively work at, especially when I see my kid being excluded from things. It is really, really hard. And I want to, like, jump in there and, like, don't let them do that to you or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like, but at the end of the day, this is his life and he has to decide what he's okay with. And if he's not upset about it, I don't need to make him upset about it. So that, especially as a single mom, you're probably experiencing that. Like, I'm so sorry. Because we don't have two income household, we can't go do this and we can't do that. Like, your kids probably ask for it in the moment because that's something everybody does. But at the end of the day, they really only care about having the good moments with you, whatever that looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That surprised me the most is that though we live maybe not the ideal lifestyle and things aren't completely Pinterest perfect, sure, I'd like to be in a better neighborhood. Sure, I'd like to be in a bigger house. But you know what? What I have, we can afford, and it's good, and it's enough, and it's what we have. And what surprises me is that being out in the back and jumping on the trampoline with my kids, or little tickling fights that we have, or what they remember and what means more to them in those tiny little moments than some big fancy vacation to Disneyland or having a nicer house or a nicer neighborhood or even lessons. It surprised me this last year. My kids, I asked them if they wanted lessons, and it was, oh, you froze. All right, and you're back. Okay. Did I freeze it all, or are we good? Zoom.
I'm good.
Internet.
Oh, no. You there?
I'm there. Yep, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm the one connected. I'm trying to connect to you.
Well, you froze, but then I was like, I don't know if that's me or you. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
We'll just go a little bit longer to make up for it. But what I was trying to say is my kids, I asked them this last year, do you want lessons? Because we had tried it. And then things got tight and I had to let it go. And then we were in a position to have lessons again. And they said, no, we're okay. We're okay with just coming home. And that really surprised me that it was a simple thing that they were happy to just come home and land. And I think I lost you, but I have your voice. I don't have your image, but I have your voice. So we can keep
going. I have
going.
both for you.
Okay, there we go. So hopefully it kicks back on for you. I really like what you said about that. I think the simple pleasures are smaller than we think. I did family therapy actually when I became a mom of three because I realized, dang, I need some help and I need some more skills here. And my goal has always been to be a chain breaker of negative patterns. And I was surprised to find out that just 5 minutes a day of one-on-one time that's completely dedicated to them and to what they want to do with you is super effective. And as a single mom, it's like 5 minutes. Okay, there's no excuse for that. I can find 5 minutes for each kid individually to give them. And that's what means the most versus some fancy present or something big. Give your kids your presence instead of presents is what one of my mentors says.
True. Am I echoing on your end? Or just
nope.
Mine? Okay. So I teach that. The ideal is 15 minutes a day. But when you've got 3 kids, 15 minutes a day, unless you're homeschooling, is probably not going to happen. So I talk about, how can we make it fit your family? A lot of my families with 3 and 4 and 5 kids will alternate days, and even have one day where it's their time, like my alone time, right? The other thing is, like you just said, it's presence instead of presence. And this is so true for me because I remember being 9-10 years old right before my brother was born. And I remember being in the Walmart toy aisle where my mother was trying to buy something. And I literally thought to myself, my mother is trying to buy my love.
Wow, that you caught on to that. It took me years to figure that one out.
Let's just say it happened. There wasn't a lot of other connection going on. Right? But and I just remember thinking, she's so concerned about this new baby coming, which I prayed for and I love my brother. There's never anything about that. But instead of wanting to spend time with me, she just thought she would buy me something. And to this day, if I say, hey, this thing that you did really hurt me, she will turn around and go, but look at all the places I took you. Look at all the things you got to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But at the end of the day, they don't matter if you don't do the small things. If you don't listen, the rest doesn't matter. You can give them limousines and boats and all the things, but it doesn't matter if you don't do the small things.
that connection, that human connection, the love, that you matter as an individual, and validating the individual is so much more important than a list of things that you can show on the social media reel or at the family gatherings. Like, it's so fake. Yeah, no offense, but that's a fake life, yeah, in a lot of ways. Humans, okay, so we all have different lifestyles. We'll put it that way, and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with having those different lifestyles as long as you're able to really connect, like the ways that you're saying. And that
if you can give your kids everything, give your, like, I had a client once ask me, do I have too much stuff? Like, is it bad that I'm buying her a toy? And I said, I don't know, is it? Do you like doing it? Yes. And she takes care of it. I said, okay. So why are you having a problem with it? Like, what's causing you to, because everybody else says I shouldn't. I was like, it doesn't matter what everybody else says. What matters is, does it work for your family? And are you still focusing in on the needs of your child?
Absolutely. And I think that shows that it doesn't matter where you're born or where you come from. That's why some people are super successful, even though they were dirt poor, and some people who are rich are not successful. It's not about the things. It's all about the human beings that they are becoming. So you're absolutely right there. And I love that you keep coming back to what works for your family, because families today look so different. Like, I never, ever expected to be a single mom of 3, and let alone going on a few years of it now. You know, I would definitely prefer to have a wonderful partner who loved me and my kids and, you know, was here, but that's not my story right now. So, you know, you make the best with what you have to work with. So,
and 15 years ago, I never would have expected that I'd be living in an RV traveling around. Like, it's so different for everybody. I was an expat, you know, we have travel nurse friends. We have people that live in mansions, and we have people that live in tiny apartments. And it really doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. What matters is what you're going to do with the life that you have.
Yes, yes. And that's real resilience, is being able to live your truth and hold to it no matter the circumstance. But I think also what you're saying is something one of our speakers on live is going to talk about, because she lives untraditionally like you do. She does house sitting, and they live out suitcases. There's no wrong or right way to your lifestyle. And there's some now that, I mean, I love what one of my speakers said last night. She was like, so what if what you're coming up with is crazy? The world's so crazy right now. Just be creative. Just do it. Go create it. But the idea is you get to create it. Don't feel limited, and don't feel like a victim of the times. Go use that creative human resilience and ability to take what's in front of you and create something positive and amazing.
We are really living in a time that we get to design our life.
Yes.
Our parents and our grandparents, you know, a lot of them tried and some of them succeeded, but they didn't have the resources that we do now. My lifestyle, this was not possible 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago, this would have been ridiculously hard. Yes. So we get to now sit back and go, you know what? I understand, especially to our parents and grandparents, because this comes up a lot. I understand that this is how you did things. I am going to do what I feel is best for me and mine, right? And if you don't want to take part in it, that's cool. You don't have to. This is what we are doing as a family.
Yes.
And that is so important to understand, is that you get to design your life.
And your family.
Sit there and go, oh, if I wish I could do that, you can. It could take a lot of work and effort and planning, but you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Like, whatever you want your family to look like, you can make happen.
Yes. And that's the kind of empowerment we want to give our kids in the way that we raise them, is realizing that they have unlimited potential to create whatever they want. But like you said, it takes work and it takes time, and it may shift and look different. I mean, I'm sure that's why you came to your lifestyle, and but you're making it work, and it is what it is now. That's why our internet's a little glitchy, is because it's
because I am. I am not in my RV. I am in the lounge at the campground.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
90-degree heat with a fan, so I could do this.
But then you get to travel, you get to work with all kinds of people. I mean, how cool is that? Like, I think it'd be really fun to do a bunch of artwork and buy a motor home and go sell artwork all over the country with my kids. I
And
think
people
that,
do.
yeah, that's the thing. People are doing all sorts of crazy things now.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to, again, is those relationships, is what you're saying, and that connection, and taking that time to be seen. People need to be seen. Children especially need to be seen. It's no longer this children are seen and not heard thing that has been so detrimental to a whole generation, including myself, where I didn't have my own voice. And in my own life, I mean, I love my parents, honor my parents. We're working through a lot of things and getting to a better place. But I lost my voice. I lost trusting my own intuition. And that led to having shifting core values and being a chameleon with whoever I was around, to the point I almost completely lost myself, especially in some of the last relationships that I was in, because I was trained to give and give and give, and everybody else's needs were first. Everyone else's needs were first. My own didn't matter. And that sacrifice of my own needs just was such a good thing to do. No, it drained.
Mommy martyrdom.
Yeah. And even before I became a mother, I was doing this. So when I became a mom, it was even worse. So that's no way to parent. That's no way to live. You do have to be whole first. You do have to trust your intuition, or you can't find who you are to serve at the levels that you're meant to serve like you are. And that's what I love about most, I would say all of our speakers coming on is they took their journey, they took what they've learned, and not only are they living examples of it, but they are sharing that gift with other people. And I'm just in awe as I continue to find my space in this online world by all of you and your contributions to the summit. So I really appreciate you. So now let's get to your offer for our audience and how they can connect with you. Because dang, I'm even thinking I got to sign up with you now. So.
So I have a completely free Facebook group right now, and you can just go to facebook.com/group/joy and confidence. Everything is at Joy and Confidence. And I am working on some special things. It's taking me a little longer, but we are soon going to have a very inexpensive membership where you are going to get lots and lots of helpful tips and how to work through and the questions, right? Like, for example, one of the things that you can do is, okay, my kid is driving me nuts. What is going on around me? What am I trying to do? What are they trying to do? What needs are they trying to meet? And how can I meet them? Right? And so, like, little things like that to help you reset and move forward without having to control them to control you, and that whole hullabaloo that doesn't work.
Yeah, just creates contention.
Different questions to help you get curious, to help you move forward with your kid in a way that's connection. For example, last night, my kid wanted to start having a meltdown because he was ridiculously tired about not being able to watch a show before bed because we went swimming till 9:00 at night. And, like, because that's our life. That's what we choose. But instead of just being like, no, stop crying and all that other stuff, instead I was able to lean into play. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to put on a show for you. And I had a pillow and I was like, do. And like, we just made it super fun. And it lasted like 1 minute. And then he was laughing. We were laughing and we went to bed. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't have to be a super
of conflict. There was a way to just roll with it. I love that so much. And I don't think we think on our feet enough like that, especially if we came from a negative household. And I know it's a generational thing in my family for different reasons why it's that way. And the thing is, everyone's trying, I think, too. I think there's a lot of room for forgiveness. Yes. We know all of our parents are coming from a place of love. They want to keep us safe. They're comfortable with their patterns and what they are. But you're allowed to be your own parent, your own individual, and moving forward and create the kind of moments like you did last night with your kids instead, and shift and find new tools and new ways to just roll with the punches. That is children who constantly change and children who are all different. Nobody comes with an instruction manual. I'm so glad someone said that they are all going to be very different, because if I didn't know that, I would think I was doing something wrong. So I have children who are very, very different. Some are in some ways and completely different in others. And some that are very external with what's going on and what their needs are, and some that are very internal and hidden and you don't realize needs aren't being met until sometimes there's a meltdown or there's something that comes out. So that has to be dealt with completely different. And everyone's unique, just like every family is unique. So, I think you have so much to offer and so much to give that fits the summit so well. So I'm so glad that you're here to contribute. Now, we're going to have a little fun. I know that we're about to go over time a little bit. That's okay, because we kind of cut in and out. Can't be helped. It's the lifestyle. Like you said, you choose. You get to choose.
I did have 2 internets we tried, right? Oh, and here we go again. I touched it. I shouldn't have touched it.
It is time to dance it out, because everyone's dancing. The audience gets to vote on who has the best Zumba dance moves.
Oh, goodness. This will not be me.
Yeah, just show us what you got. And I want the audience to get up and move. Nobody gets to sit through this whole thing. No way, Jose. All right. Here we go. And just move. And dance. Everybody up. And dance.
I got a spinning chair.
I'm going to do a little finger dance. My cousin taught me this. Just do it in the car.
Let me hear what it is. Oh. Use my roller chair. I'm pretty sure everyone thinks I'm insane right now. We can hear this glass door.
Oh. My shirt's coming undone. I better. Oh, thank you so much, Mary. I feel like we could talk for hours, and I can see how you're so powerful in what you do for others. So thank you for coming on, and I will see you around in the community, and we'll be doing more and collaborating together, I'm sure, in the future. So thank you. Thank you.